This coming Sunday is the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time. We continue to read from Mark's Gospel account. The passage is a kind of double story about two healings. One is a young girl and the second is a woman. The passage is Mark chapter 5, verses 21 to 43. Let's take a listen. When Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a large crowd gathered around him, and he stayed close to the sea. One of the synagogue officials, named Jairus, came forward. Seeing him, he fell at his feet and pleaded earnestly with him, saying, "My daughter is at the point of death. Please, come lay your hands on her, that she may get well and live." He went off with him, and a large crowd followed him and pressed upon him. There was a woman afflicted with hemorrhages for 12 years. She had suffered greatly at the hands of many doctors and had spent all that she had. Yet she was not helped, but only grew worse. She had heard about Jesus and came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. She said, "If I but touch his clothes, I shall be cured." Immediately her flow of blood dried up. She felt in her body that she was healed of her affliction. Jesus, aware at once that power had gone out from him, turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who has touched my clothes?" But his disciples said to Jesus, "You see how the crowd is pressing upon you, and yet you ask, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see who had done it. The woman, realizing what had happened to her, approached in fear and trembling. She fell down before Jesus and told him the whole truth. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has saved you. Go in peace and be cured of your affliction." While he was still speaking, people from the synagogue official's house arrived and said, "Your daughter has died. Why trouble the teacher any longer?" Disregarding the message that was reported, Jesus said to the synagogue official, "Do not be afraid, just have faith." He did not allow anyone to accompany him inside except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they arrived at the house of the synagogue official, he caught sight of a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. So he went in and said to them, "Why this commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but asleep." And they ridiculed him. Then he put them all out. He took along the child's father and mother and those who were with him and entered the room where the child was. He took the child by the hand and said to her, "Talitha cum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." The girl, a child of 12, arose immediately and walked around. At that, they were utterly astounded. He gave strict orders that no one should know this, and said that she should be given something to eat. We can almost grasp the determination of both people, Jairus for his daughter, and the woman who has suffered with hemorrhages for 12 years. They are desperate and determined. We can be like that as we seek to get help for a sick child or to seek help for ourselves. We might know someone who is in need, and we want to come to their assistance. The disciples may have wondered why a poor woman would have approached Jesus. They may have also wondered why a synagogue official, an important person in the community, would be bothered approaching Jesus. Those of you who have had to deal with a child's health issue know that you'll go anywhere, to Hasbro Children's Hospital, or to Boston Children's Hospital, or beyond. Where can you get the help you need? How surprised Jairus must have been when, on the way to his home, Jesus is stopped and has to deal with a second request for healing. He senses someone who has brushed up against him touch the hem of his garment. Jairus just wants to get back on track. As they begin their journey again, the messenger tells Jairus that his daughter has died. We can only imagine Jairus saying to himself, "If we had not been delayed, perhaps we could have made it back here in time to save her. Jesus does call out, Talitha cum, little girl, arise. He does restore her to life. What we notice about both healing stories is that the women are united in their need. They both need healing. They are also united in their faith in Jesus. They approach him with faith. They approach him with humility and reverence. In both cases, Jesus recognizes their faith. There was tremendous faith. Jesus is delayed in getting to Jairus' daughter, but delay is not denial. Delay is not rejection. What keeps delay from becoming discouragement is faith. Physical healing may come or not. Faith will make the difference in how we handle that situation. There may be disappointments and setbacks in any important endeavor, like seeking the good health of one we love. But as one writer says, you will not be defeated until you let go of your faith. As long as there is God, there is hope. Let the gospel fill your week. Spend time reflecting on these important elements of our faith lives, how we need healing of all kinds, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. See you in church. Until then, God bless.